Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And obviously, this is a Madrid fan page for the most part, but you can't talk about Madrid without talking about their rivals, unfortunately, because, well, they go like this, and that's Barcelona. So, obviously, Barcelona played yesterday, and they walked away victors 3-2. And it's not going to be a very long video, so a few things I want to say. Um, so, first of all, for the Barcelona fans arguing that that was not a penalty in the first half, it 100% was. And it's a weird situation because if it was back in the day, right, like maybe like 5 years ago before all these stupid ass strict rules started being into place, I would have agreed that it wasn't a handball. I don't believe he intentionally had he intentionally had his hand there. Once the ball is kicked with certain force, bro, like it's the ball moves faster in most cases than you can move your arm. So at the core, deep on it, no, I myself would not have wanted to call it a penalty. But the thing is that the rules changed, and the fact is that his arm was not in a natural position. Like his arm was a little bit out like that, so it did deflect off his arm, and you can argue that before that it was headed towards the goal. Now, another reason why I would call it is because there's other teams, right, both Madrid and against Madrid, that I've seen this happen to, where I'm like, all right, I wouldn't have called that, and they've called it. So you just like the only thing we're asking for these men and the refs have to see this too, or I hope they know this, is just consistency. If that was going to be a penalty yesterday, that should be a penalty across the board, no matter what, no matter who plays, no matter what the situation is. That should be a penalty. And the thing with these rules is, I think it's just mostly the inconsistency of it that's just really starting to get on people's nerves, right? Because chances are, at least one more time, probably in the next like week, we're gonna see something similar not get called, and that's what fucking drives me crazy. Like, like just be consistent with it. Yes, his hand was unnatural, it deflected the ball, so by the letter of the law, that should be a penalty. Fine, but just make it so it's like that all the time, not just when it's convenient or inconvenient for a certain team, right? So yes, that was a penalty. I don't think there's any arguing about that regarding what we've seen and the rules. I just think the issue with it that most people have is like it doesn't get called like that all the time. And it should be. A rule's a rule, whether you like it or not, it should just be followed all the time, right? Quickly out the way. Now, as a diehard Madrid fan, if you watched that first half, bro, like you were happy as shit. Barcelona were not playing that well, and they just for some reason they just kept on getting caught on a counter. Like as a team that was in the second division for 3 seasons straight. It was weird, right? So they went into it being 2-0 down. And Levante had some good chances to fucking go up maybe 3-0. So overall it was a very good first half for them. But then the second half came. And this is where this is something that you always attribute with Madrid. And for some reason this past like season, you just have not seen that, and it's the fight that Barcelona had in those first 10 minutes, bro. Like they went whatever the hell that Hansi Flick told them, they went in there and they were hungry. They were not gonna let anything go. They were not gonna let anything happen to let them go 3-0, and they for sure were not gonna go in there and not fight for it. So they got 10 goals. They got 2 goals within the first 10 minutes of the first half. Worldly banger by Pedri. Unfortunately for Lamar's goal, I fucking stood up and I had to go to the fucking bathroom, so I missed it, right? And I haven't seen the replays either, but he scored as well, and that's what took him to the 3-2 nil. To the 3-2 win. But it's just that fight, bro. Like you have to fight. And that's one thing that this past season I've actually looked to them and I've admired about it. Like, yo, bro, like I wish we still had that. Because that fight, no matter who you're up against, makes it so that they know the game's not over, right? You could be 2-0 up against Barcelona, and you saw it last season. You could be 2-0 up against Barcelona, minute fucking 80, and in your head you're still nervous because you know it's not over yet. Like it's not over until the final whistle blows, and that's something that again was overwhelmingly favorable for Madrid or has been for previous seasons for a long time. And last season we just fucking lost it. We went down 1-0, 2-0, and the morale just deflated from the fucking team, right? But that's no, the Madrid thing is something for another video. Hopefully, I will talk about it more during after today's game when we play. Um but yeah, and as far as Barcelona, there's a few things that you look at the game and you're like, damn, like I wish I had that. Now, being fair, even when they had Messi, I never looked at a Barcelona team and said, "Yo, like I want that player. I wish that player was in Madrid." Reason why Messi was easily the best player out of both teams during that span, right? Even he was better than Cristiano Ronaldo. That's in our. If you're a fan of the sport and not a bandwagon Madrid fan, you can easily admit that. That's fine, right? But I never needed him, or I never saw him as essential to the team because of the pieces that we had, right? Because of the other players. At the end of the day, one player can make a difference, but it's still 10 players on the outfield and your goalie, right? So it's a team sport. So the players that we had, to me, complemented Cristiano Ronaldo more than they would have complemented Messi, right? But I never looked at the team and said, yo, like, I wish I had that. With one exception during that time, or actually two exceptions during that time, one being Alexis Sanchez, because for some reason, even though he rode the bench for the most part in Barcelona, there were times where we were playing in Clasico, he'd come off the bench and I'd be like, fuck, because he can do stuff on the ball that other players couldn't, right? And if you guys remember, like prime Arsenal, like oh my god, I just said his name, Sanchez. He was a fucking demon. He was a demon, and I saw that from all the way back when he was in Barcelona, right? That's one. The other one is Carlos Puyol because he was a monster defender, right? Captain on and off the pitch, and he always conducted himself with dignity. Like he's a Barcelona player that has my utmost respect as a Madrid fan, and forever will, right? And now he goes to these two players that I'm about to mention. One is Pedri. So one, Barcelona fans don't be talking shit about your academy even though it's a great academy, one of the best ones in the world, right? Don't talk shit about Pedri because you bought him from, I believe it was Las Palmas. Now, when like he emerged at around the same time, you guys remember that Ansu Fati did, and I actually had an argument with my boy about it. I told him, I was like, I don't think Fati's gonna be as important as you think because he was, hype dog on Ansu Fati, and I told him Pedri's gonna be a bigger part of this team going forward than Ansu Fati. And bro, this kid is a menace. For the past year, he has been easily, or because yeah, no, fuck it. I'm gonna say it. For the past year and a half, he's been arguably the best midfielder in Europe for the past year and a half, and for the past 6 months, I think he's been the best midfielder in the world. And Barcelona got lucky they were able to buy him like that. We had the chance to buy him, and we thought it was too much, even though we went out and spent a whole bunch of money on someone like, and I don't regret buying him because at the end I do love him as a player, but someone like Camavinga, who was 18 at the time that we bought him, and we bought him for about 32, 35 million. We thought Pedri was too much. That came back and bit us in the ass because there's no doubt in my mind he would be starting for Madrid right now. Obviously, he's a starter into most teams that he walks into right now in world football, and I don't think that's really arguable, right? The other one is, bro, this kid Lamine Yamal, bro. Like he had an off game by his standards, right? But when I say by his standards, those standards are ridiculously high already. Now I think that one of the very few positive things that has come from this whole financial situation that they're in is that it gave them chances or reasons to start these young players at a young age. Now, what I mean by that is, do I think Lamine Yamal would still be a great Barcelona player even if he didn't start that young? Yes, because his talent, his potential will always be there. But do I think he would have started it as soon? No. If they were able to sign players at that point in time, I think they would have signed somebody else, and he might not gotten to start that young, right? But he did, and great for him because now he has experience in Europe, experience in top European leagues. Even though they haven't been good experiences overall, he has experience in the Champions League, and all that stuff is gonna come back and is going to reward him down the line. Um, but yeah, dude, like and then the other stroke of luck has been Hansi Flick, but bro, because he can coach, bro. This man could coach, and like you saw, and again you saw it when I first realized it was gonna be a problem, right? Regardless, because I did think eventually his offside trap was gonna be caught last season. For some reason, there was a time in like October, November, where I feel like they did get caught. They didn't, like their run was not that great during that month. But then after that, bro, no one caught him. No one caught him. It was fucking insane, right? But the first, again, I've mentioned this Clasico a million times. But the first Clasico of last season, the one where we lost 4-0, again, we could have gone into halftime being 2-3-0 up. But he saw what he had to do. He saw changes, right? Something that, as much as I love him as a coach, Ancelotti never did, right? And he never did it. He saw what the problem was, right? He fixed it at halftime. They came back and they beat us 4-0. Well deserved. Well deserved victory. But those three things, man, are going to be huge for Barcelona going on this season. Now, depending on how we are or how the table looks, halfway through the season, I think he should be able to, start resting Pedri and Yamal every here and there. And I don't mean, 2, 3, 4 games at a time. I literally mean just like if you're playing someone who you could easily beat, right, with the depth going forward that they have, because they do have some depth going forward, right? You should be able to rest them, and hopefully they do, because I want, as much as I don't like Barcelona as a club, I'm still a fan of the sport. I like watching Pedri on the field. I like watching Lamine Yamal on the field because they do shit that makes you go like, oh fuck. And if you love the sport, bro, like you see that stuff and you're like, holy shit, like that was fucking sick to watch. That was sick to watch. I want to watch it some more. So I don't want them to get injured, but I just feel like with everything that they have coming up, right? Because obviously in the just like last season, Champions League, La Liga, um, Copa del Rey, they just had the players overall has just gotten they just have a lot of load on their on their bodies. So I don't want anything to happen to them, especially Lamine Yamal. He's still young, right? Remember what happened to Fati? He was young, played a lot of games, got injured, and he was never the same player again. Well, not never. He's still young. He can still get better, but he didn't live up to his potential in Barcelona at least. Um, but yeah, man, like they won 3-2. They've 2-0 in the league so far this season, 6 points. We cannot lose track on these on them at all this season, especially who we're playing. We're playing Oviedo, however the fuck you pronounce it. And those are the reason why I would have been so happy if they lost yesterday, bro, is because those are the type of games that add up at the end of the season, right? When you look back and you're a team like Madrid or Barcelona, right? You can say like, all right, well, I lost to Barcelona, I lost to Madrid, right? Uh, that stuff is gonna happen. But it was the game against blank, who was bottom tier of the table, who we should have won that cost us the fucking league title because those are 2 points we should have easily picked up. So that's why it would have been very important for Madrid, and I would have loved as a Madrid fan to watch them lose yesterday, or at the very least draw. But again, like I don't think it was their best played game at the end of the day. But I'm sure you guys have heard this before. That's what winners do. Winners go in and it might not be the prettiest game, like of all the games you played, but you scrap that shit out and you at the end of the day you walk out with that win. And it pains me to say this, that's what Barcelona showed yesterday, and that's why they won. They were scrappy, bro. They were scrappy. It might have been a 90 plus minute equalizer, but oh sorry, a winner, but don't fight me if you want, but to me, those are the best ones because it keeps you at the edge of your seat and it keeps you interested in the game for the entirety of the game. And yeah, man, like at this point, we just have to see how Madrid does today. And like we have to keep up to them. We have to. We cannot drop points. And it'll be interesting to see how Xabi lines up. Um, and yeah, man, like I just keep thinking for these like since I saw the game, like we need a player like Pedri on Madrid. We need him. Like what we lost with Cruz, especially with Cruz, bro. Because I'm telling you, like it was honestly. So you see this jersey here, this one right here. Oh my god, this one. I was gonna get that with Cruz's name on it. Now, unfortunately, shit costs a lot of money. If I got that personalized, it would have cost close to $500 to ship it to my house. That was before he announced his retirement. I was like, you know what? I'll have one more season to be able to get a jersey with his name on it because I don't get a lot of people with jerseys. Um, and then he fucking announced his retirement. It was very unexpected. I personally still think he had a lot of gas left in his tank. But you know what? He brought us immense success, and this man deserved to retire on his own terms, and that's what he did. He went out on a high. The only player who I could think of who actually retired on a more of a high was Zach, or not retired, but left the club on more of a high was Xavi. He left Barcelona having being a treble winner. He doesn't really get much more better than that. Um, but yeah, again, Madrid stuff I'm gonna talk about in today's later video after we play. But for now, this has been my quick reaction for the Barcelona win. Again, catch you guys in the next one. Latest.